Hello, colleagues. Welcome to this talk on pedagogy. I am Suresh Mane, working at Girija Vaisel Institute of Technology, Karwar. At the outset, I would like to thank Professor S.P. Dodmani, HOD, and the principal of Angri College of Engineering, Dr. Deshpandeji, for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts and ideas with the esteemed teaching fraternity. So, when you talk of pedagogy, teaching, the first name which comes to our mind is Sarvarpalli Radhakrishna, the great philosopher, teacher, and to remember him, we celebrate his birthday as Teachers' Day every year in India. So he is a role model and inspiration as to how far a teacher can reach. So teaching is a very responsible assignment basically, and it is not everyone's cup of tea. People with passion to teach, mentor, and groom the next generation who will be the future citizens of this country, and they will be driving the nation forward. So the onus lies on the teachers. This discussion, we will see small snaps of various issues like growth of mankind, education, role of teachers, and something like WOOP, SWOT analysis, Johari window, and this Generation Z students, some time management principles, and the way forward. As you are all aware, man is the only mammal who has tremendously grown on this planet Earth due to his mental prowess. And for this growth of mankind, the role of teachers is important in all fields. The development what we see around us today is all a creation of man, and teachers are the people who shape and mold the young minds. Today when you see our president, prime minister, chief ministers, governors, the civil servants, all the top brass of the society, these business people, few years back or some few decades back, they were students. They never knew when they were students that they will occupy such high positions in public life. Similarly, the students we teach, we can't predict as to what will be their future. But given the accelerated growth of mankind in the past 2 decades, it is quite certain that the growth trajectory is not going to stop and it is going to grow further north. Albert Einstein said, and I quote, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." So basically, education does not mean that we teach certain facts and the students memorize them and then they write the same in the examinations. We should allow the students to think. And all these developments have taken place in mankind only because of thought process. When we were young, I think we never had even telephone at home. Then we received telephones some 20 years back. And I think in today, every family, there are 3 to 4 cell phones with all the family members. The same is the case of automobiles. We had very few cars, but today you find lot of cars and two-wheelers on the road. It's all possible because of quality education, which led to the improvement in manufacturing sector, research, designs, and ultimately man could produce such wonderful machines which are useful for the mankind by use of technology. Students, as you are all aware, they are like coal, and over the period of their education, the teachers have a great role to see that these students get polished and compressed and ultimately turn out as diamonds. So this transformation is possible by great teachers who are passionate about their job and have a lot of liking for their jobs and are committed to their profession. You are all aware, teacher plays various roles. We'll start from the bottom. You can see you are a resource developer. So some study material, you write handwritten notes, you make PPTs. So you develop resource. Then going left, you plan for the course, for the curriculum which is designed. Then you also are an assessor, because whatever teaching has been undertaken, it has to be evaluated. And this evaluation basically drives learning. So you need to be a good assessor of the students. And you need to be a facilitator, like a mentor to the students, so that the students achieve the learning outcomes. And of late, there's a lot of focus on learning outcomes and outcome-based education, be it polytechnic or engineering institutions. And teacher need to be a role model. The students subconsciously watch their teachers, and they are very much fascinated, though they may not express it point blank, but they emulate teachers. So teachers need to be role models with a high level of character and conduct. And ultimately, teacher should also be a information provider, like you collect information through observation, through visits, through internet, through peer discussion, and provide information by way of lectures. Pedagogy includes 3 aspects basically, that is a curriculum design, the instructional techniques, and the management techniques. As far as this engineering institutions or even diploma education is considered, there is a board of studies in the university for each stream, like mechanical engineering, civil engineering, which comprises of 6 to 7 members, and they design the curriculum. Similarly, DT, Director of Technical Education, they design the curriculum for polytechnic students. I think I am very happy to see that the latest curriculum designed by the DT, it has made the job of the teacher easy, because earlier only the 12 program outcomes were defined, but in the new syllabus they have defined the course outcomes, and I think they have even mapped the CO to the POs. So the role of the teacher becomes slightly easy when compared to the engineering institutions, where the teacher has a greater role to play because the university has not done this. Teachers basically are lifelong learners. As the technology is evolving, as there is progress in mankind, the lot of learning material is coming up, and teachers need to learn. Learning can happen through textbooks, especially the foreign author books, which we have seen that they contribute more to the learning rather than for from they are not basically written from examination point of view, as most of the Indian textbooks are written. Secondly, you teachers should have access to all the journals. I think VTU consortium, where all the engineering institutions are subscribing and paying lakhs of rupees. So, uh, fortunately, all the teachers are having access to all the international journals, Elsevier, Springer, Emerald, you name it, Francis and Taylor. So all the journals are IEEE, are accessible to teachers, and they should, I think, spend some time to go through the journals and update their knowledge on the subjects they teach. And these internet facilities are available, Google, Wikipedia. That way also a lot of information is available. And today internships and the field visits by teachers gives first-hand information, and it builds confidence in the teacher. What I have seen, it's very sorry to say that in India, the student who completes his engineering further continues to do his masters and even completes his PhD with absolutely no real life knowledge. At the end, you have fresh doctorates who are not exposed to industry. But I think some uh, time should be spent by the teachers in the industry, because industry is not one. See, the defense can be an industry, manufacturing can be an industry, and there's various sorts of industries. But some sort of exposure to the teachers will actually boost the confidence when they go to the real life. And of late, these internships, what the universities have made it mandatory, I think they can be very helpful, provided teacher takes a very positive note of it and gets involved and visits the industries, interacts with the industry personnel and develops linkages. And even people can take further forward and do some projects for the industry. Actually, the world famous universities like MIT, Stanford, which stand number 1 and 2 in the global ranking, be it a QS ranking or THE ranking, these institutions are mostly funded by the industrial consultancy and projects these faculties take, and not supported by government or their uh, tuition fees. So that is the ultimate aim what a institution should aspire for, and to have that competence, certainly teachers need to come out of their comfort zones and have a very proactive role in interacting with the industries. Teachers, they teach all along. We were teaching with the conventional chalk and talk methodology, but of late we have started making PowerPoint presentations, and in this COVID era, thanks to COVID, we are all now online, and some of us have got YouTube channels. Institutions have got opened up YouTube channels. Google Classroom is extensively used, and teachers are now becoming tech savvy and using technology to their advantage. Evaluation, as I was telling, is a major force which drives the students to learn, and evaluation can be like the conventional semester and examinations or continuous internal assessment, but also you can have new measures like quiz, discussions among the students, debates, presentations by the students, mini projects, assignments, and seminars. Teacher also has a role to mentor the students. Basically, young students, they have not seen life, and the teacher who is well groomed, educated, experienced can definitely share his learnings with the students and mentor them to lead a good student life and to become a capable engineer and serve the nation. Teachers need to keep growing continuously. I am told every day we should learn something. Every day should be a learning day. Whatever it is, half an hour, 10 minutes, even 1 hour, there should be some learning on the part of teacher. And learning should be a lifelong affair. Learning does not stop. I think we are very fortunate. I think we have seen, we were born in the 60s, 70s. We have seen the evolution of India especially. So much of rapid progress has been made right in front of our eyes that this is all possible because of the learning by the people. So you can have personal growth as well as professional growth. Personal growth, you can go for higher qualifications. Those who are graduates, they can go for post graduation. Some can take up research and even postdoctoral fellowships after research. You can attend FDPs, faculty development programs, or short-term training programs. Nowadays, India is the world's largest MOOC, that is massive online open courses conducted by SWAYAM. This earlier NPTEL also is now a part of this SWAYAM. Fortunately, now we have a lot of webinars online, almost at free of cost or very little cost. And you can go through YouTube channels. You can create your own YouTube channel and contribute small videos. I think I'll be posting this video also on my YouTube channel. It becomes a repository so that we can listen to this and again update in due course. And some of us can take up writing textbooks. As far as professional growth is in, we are all the institutions now, they are aspiring for accreditations, whether it is NAAC, NB and all. You can improve your publications in journals. You can go for patents, apply for research grants. Fortunately now you have got VGST, KSCST, VTU gives research grants, DST, Department of Science and Technology. In that, SERB is there, Science and Engineering Research Board. CSIR Labs, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, DRDO. Many organizations are there. Then you can also give tech talks, seminars you can attend and give also, present seminars. You can guide UG and PG projects and even doctoral students. Pedagogy basically, as of 2020, is slightly changed due to the generation G. We call them generation X, generation Y and generation Z or Z. So here the participatory techniques are very much appreciated by students. Earlier days teacher used to say something and students used to accept it without questioning. Today participatory techniques of learning, they are very popular, right from nursery to even higher education. There should be openness and trust between the teacher and the pupil. A lot of innovation and creativity should be there on the part of teacher. Can take up innovative things and teach, and students appreciate the innovation and creativity. There should be sharing of ideas and resources. Whatever resource material teacher has compiled, collected, you can share it. Of late, you have good softwares where you can scan, convert into PDF, and share it on WhatsApp or Google Classroom instantly. Then it is not that only teacher teaches and student learns. If you look at today's students, they also know certain things better than us, like use of mobile phones for video making, for communication. So we can learn certain things from students also. There should be reflective practices. You need to pause, introspect, think, and reflect upon whatever is being taught. And whatever we teach, there can be peer review. I'm not the only guy teaching, so the same subject is taught by different teachers in different institutions. So we can have peer groups discussion on the technical issues. And this way also, by exchange of ideas, a lot of learning happens. And today everybody is in a connected community, be it WhatsApp, that is social media, Facebook. And I think we have to take this to our advantage and improve our pedagogy. I think of late a lot of private coaching centers have come, especially for after 8th, 10th, 12th. Those who are aspiring for NEET, JEE mains, and some repeated entrance examinations. So they have a different pedagogy. Like I don't want to name. I think you are aware. Everywhere they have mushroom now, and they have almost a pan-India presence. They are very well structured. Their content is well structured, and their management styles are very well structured. They hire the specialized faculty which are experienced and come out from institutes of national importance like IITs and NITs. They have their own study material which is very excellent, and they keep updating their study material annually. Their teaching batch size is very small, so that individual attention can be given. One thing I observed, that most of the time is given in knowledge, sharing, gaining, but they don't focus on like sports, extracurricular activities, even television, and some institutions even don't allow mobiles also. So they are ensuring that students do not have this normal distractions what a common student has, and they spend their time and energy in learning. They conduct all India tests, and they have rigorous tests on a regular basis. So this is a pedagogy adopted by private coaching institutes what I have seen, and they are quite successful. I think past 1 decade I have seen they have grown exponentially. But whereas our conventional institutions, which are affiliated institutions to the university or coming under DT, we take care of everything. Academics is one part. We have extracurricular activities like sports, cultural activities. Then you have co-curricular activities. You have like interactive classroom sessions using Blackboard, PPT, audiovisual sessions. Then we also conduct seminars, workshops, conferences. All teacher plays a major role in all these things. Some e-learning content is there. The teacher takes the students to field visits, that is industrial trips and all. We'll have some guest teachers, talks by teachers, and students will give presentations, can have debates, discussions, and our laboratories give the hands-on experience to the students, like operating a lathe, mechanical students operating a lathe or testing the hardness of material. So it's hands-on experience, and some students do take up research-based projects. So if you have certain doubts or you're in a dilemma, so I'd like to suggest certain few things what I have learnt. One is called WOOP. WOOP means we write our wish list. Okay, what we want to achieve. Then another O stands for outcome. What would happen if we achieve that outcome? Then the second O is the obstacles. What obstacles might be in the way of achieving your desired outcome? The P stands for the plan. Means what plan or actions do you have to take to put in place to overcome these obstacles and achieve your desired outcomes. So there is something called if and then. If this happens, then I'll do this. If this obstacle comes, then I'll do this. So you have to write down the if and then statements. And I think as a teacher, we should basically write the purpose of our life. These are things which are very personal, need not be shared with anybody. But for every individual, I feel we need to write the purpose of our life. That will be the guiding light. And once you write your purpose of life means how the world should remember us or why the world should remember us once we are no more on this planet. And I think from there, you can write your goals. Goals, I think you can have some 7 dimensions to goals, whether it is your financial goal, career goal, education goal, health goals, social, spiritual goals. So you can write goals, and this WOOP statements you need to write so that you achieve the goals. Every day you should walk towards your goal. Some effort should be made towards all these goals, whether it is towards your health, towards your career, towards your social well-being, or to spiritual growth, to your career advancement. You need to take steps in this direction. Second thing is SWOT analysis. I think these things are taught in management courses, but we being engineers, I think we are not exposed to this, and I thought I'll share this. So there is something called SWOT analysis. Very simple it is. S stands for strengths, W for weaknesses, O for opportunities, and T for threats. Now they call it, even instead of T they call C, that is challenges. So basically every individual, he should know his strengths and he should also know his weaknesses. So the strengths and weaknesses are pertaining to an individual. But these opportunities and challenges are external. So today, as you see, the engineering education is not flourishing, rather shrinking. So this is a challenge. And we should also be in lookout of opportunities as to where the world is moving. And if you are a keen observer, I think the new technologies which are emerging today are something to do with artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics and automation, blockchain technology, big data, Internet of Things, and so on. Just I was thinking of buying a washing machine for home, and I saw that IFB has got that machine which works on voice command, Alexa. So the Internet of Things have already come into our homes. So we should also orient ourselves to learn the new trending technologies and improve on our strengths, and whatever weaknesses are there, we should work on the weaknesses so that we try to convert them into strengths. And opportunities and challenges or threats are external to us, and thus we should have a watch on the opportunities and the challenges. I think there is a small book I had read, story on who moved my cheese. I think there is a small book. The PDF is available on net also. You can Google it. Very nice story of a mouse. I would suggest you to please read such books. Very much relevant today for teachers. Then there is something called Johari's window. So this John and Harry, I think the two scientists who did the research, they come out something with Johari's window, which is the outcome of the research. So they made a rectangle. There are 4 parts to it, like open, blind spot, hidden and unknown. So you can see here, known to others, unknown to others, known to us, unknown to us. So you can make your own. These are basically for self-improvement. And this definitely you can take help of your good colleagues or close friends, well-wishers, and you can write down. So the things which are known by you and things which are unknown by you, things which are known by others and things which are unknown by others. So if everything is known by you and others, then it becomes open, known by both you and others. And certain things you hide from others, so it is only known to you but not by others. Third is the blind spot. Actually here the blind spot is not known by us, but our weaknesses, our shortcomings are known by others. So here the blind spot we consult our colleagues, well-wishers, and we try to understand our blind spots and try to reduce this. We have to reduce this rectangle and improve the open rectangle so that it is known to us as well as others. So this is the basic idea behind this Johari's window. And last quadrant is something not known to others, unknown to us as well as unknown to others. So Johari's window, basically you undertake this exercise so that you receive comments from and guidance from others and thus reduce the blind spot. One more topic which I felt was essential is like time management. Everybody has the same amount of time in his life, 24 hours a day, 12 months a year, and a life of around 60-70 years. So we need to manage the time properly and set our goals correctly. As I was telling in the previous slide, the purpose of life, purpose statement if you write, then it helps you write the goals. And goals also various types of goals I have told you, be it financial, career, education, relationship goals, how relationships you need to maintain, social goals, spiritual goals. Be proactive. When our HOD or principal or the management assigns certain tasks, then most of the teachers I've seen, they start reacting. Please understand, people who are occupying these positions, they have a lot of responsibilities. So you should be happy, you should be enthusiastic and share the responsibility. You should not react, but you should respond. take it as a challenge and contribute to the institution. Then for every work, there should be some time limits. In industry, I think some of you have worked in industry. For everything, time is allotted. So there is something called work study and then time study. Work study, method study means in which method you are going to do the job, and then how much time is required to undertake that job. So there is something called method study and work study, time study, which form a part of work study. So you need to have timelines, limits, and even milestones. After 6 months, after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, how we will be progressing. Then you need to take breaks also. I think luckily in education field, we are fortunate to get certain vacations for 2 weeks or so. So these are very helpful so that we spend quality time with family and rejuvenate yourself and come back to teaching. Then you need to organize yourself, be it mental, spiritual. Should have peace of mind, basically. Then please identify the time wasters. I have seen with little experience what I have got, or 8 years in academics, time wasting happens basically in canteens, chit chatting and talking about others. More unproductive work basically. And this should be reduced, I feel. So please identify your own time wasters. You write it down. Everything need to be jotted down and need not be shared with anybody. It's your own life, how you deal, how you grow. So please write down the time wasters. Then you plan ahead. For everything you need to have plan. And then execute the plan. And also you need to distinguish between important tasks and urgent tasks. So we have to give more focus on important tasks and accomplish them so that you can grow towards your goals. This is, I think, is not visible. These are various generations, like I was telling about generation X, Y, and Z. But this generation Z students, how they learn? More than 50% by doing. Like I was talking about learning hands-on, working through examples, like I give examples of hardness testing of materials or non-destructive testing, or even working on a machine like milling machine, lathe machine or so. Then 38% by seeing, that is listening to the course material, reading course material, and only 12% is by listening. There is a classroom lecture. One more graph I had seen which says that this learning by classroom learning, basically passive learning, this only yields 8 to 10% learning. But if the student needs to grow, then he needs to go beyond. Basically, he needs to not only attend to the classes regularly, but he should also get involved in discussions with his peers. Then teachers can take up something called demonstration. But the ultimate way of learning, what I personally feel, is by teaching others. Teaching is the best way of learning, and the retention is also very high. And as such, that is why I think we have a lot of presentations now by students. We have many projects. For that also they give presentations. Even assignments in some certain institutions, whatever the students write, the teacher asks them to explain it to other students in the classroom. This way, when the student starts teaching or interacting with his classmates, certainly it lifts up his confidence, learning, and the learning outcomes are really achieved. And due to the explosion of technology, now a lot of educational videos are available, and the students fortunately have smartphones or access and have access to uh, these videos for learning. So as of now, learning material, I think there is no dearth of learning material on the net. That was not the case when we were studying. And other two case scenarios. One is case A, that the present condition continues, flares up, and normalcy is not restored in over a year. And then in that case, we will be compelled to go for blended learning, where some part of the teaching happens on face-to-face classroom teaching and some part of the teaching will be on digital platforms. And second case B, the normalcy is restored and this COVID phenomena lasts for hardly 1 year or so. So this will be something like a transition period, and after this again the normal teaching picks up. So I think you are aware that our Honorable HRD Minister also has planned for reduction in teaching hours because a lot of damage has been done by this virus, and globally it has affected life as well as livelihoods. So I would recommend you to read good books. Lot of good books are there, self-help books are there, technical books are there. Believe me, I have read some good books. Even my father studied diploma long ago. So his books also I still carry, that like Manufacturing Science by Chapman, volume 1, 2 and 3. So nice books. And please read to certain spiritual gurus like Lord Basaveshwara and some iconic leaders who have changed the planet or contributed to the growth of mankind. Have a healthy regime. Please take care of your health, because a sound mind resides in a sound body. And those who are in a dilemma, I'd like to end this discussion with the Serenity prayer or pledge. Very simple prayer it is. God, give me the strength to change the things I can, and God, give me the wisdom to accept the things which I cannot change. So whatever is in our circle of influence, we would definitely like to change. But the things which are beyond our circle of influence, but we are simply concerned about them, we should try to better ignore. So any questions, please you can write in the chat box. I think I will try to answer them. And lastly, thank you for the patient listening, and all the teachers, let them have a great life ahead. Thank you.